You're listening to the New Artist Workshop.
Call me Dairoku Tinmao, the Demon King, the most powerful man in Japan. But you can call me Lord Joker.
Konnichiwa, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. Now that's what I call a franchise. I'm Peter Mancuso.
Oh my gosh. And I'm Viviana Metzger, and this is the show where Peter and I do not talk about our intros before we do it and surprise one another. And we also pick a film franchise and go through every single installment, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And to be clear, we are defining a franchise as a series of films with at least 4 entries. So, Viviana-san, what are we talking about today?
You allowed to be doing this?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything offensive. I'm just saying.
Today we are talking about the 2018 film Batman Ninja, and this feels like
almost like a placeholder title.
Batman Ninja.
And then they were like, you know what? It's like High School Musical was just like a placeholder, because what is it? It's a musical about high school, and then the name just kind of stuck.
It's like, what is this? I don't know, like a ninja Batman type of thing. I don't know. Just name it like Batman Ninja something. We'll come up with the idea later.
And then they released it and went, wait, I thought it was your job to come up with the title. No, I thought it was your job.
You're like, wait, we forgot to do this one thing.
Anyway, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Give them the one and only spoiler warning.
Oh, this is your spoiler warning.
The one and only spoiler warning.
The one and only spoiler warning. And if you haven't watched the movie, go do that before listening to this episode. Here is the letterboxed blurb. Can you please move your cursor?
I'm sorry.
It covers the thing. It covers my script.
I clicked the part of the script because I'm like following along.
I know.
I'm sorry. Batman,
along with many of his allies and adversaries, finds himself transported to feudal Japan by Gorilla Grodd's time displacement machine.
I don't think it is.
That was a mouthful.
Gorilla. Yeah, it was strangely worded. Gorilla Grodd is not the gorilla from Batman Unlimited that we saw, right? Is it just another gorilla?
Oh, I thought that's like Silverback or something.
Yeah, it's two. So he has 2 gorilla foes.
But I thought Grodd was like the monster guy.
That's Solomon Grundy.
Oh yeah. Wait, so there's
fool.
Wait, so a Batman character is just a giant ass gorilla?
He's a super scientist.
Like
gorilla.
a King Kong? Yeah, King Kong who doesn't wear a lab coat and makes time travel? Does he even have a time flux capacitor?
No, he has a time displacement machine.
Which surely he had to create from a time flux capacitor. Or else it wouldn't have worked.
I don't know.
How else would he have gotten the electricity for it, you know?
That's true.
Which should have been a thing here, but it wasn't.
It was self-sustaining.
It was just like in the little tubes. But technically, if we're going based off of our lore that we know, you know.
The lore in another movie?
Should have...
Or the lore that we know in a completely different franchise owned by a different company.
There should have been a lightning strike of some sort to create...
Look, I don't make the rules, okay?
To create enough energy to generate the time machine. But instead, there's like different tubes that have to come together. They're like the little things at the bank, you know?
Yes, back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm sure they still do it now, but...
I don't know, I haven't been to a bank in a long time.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the little tubey things.
Yeah.
Like in, like an elf, too. When he's
the Boston Museum of Science had like a place like that where you could like put stuff in letters and send them off to other people in the museum.
Oh.
A place in the museum.
What?
So other visitors could see. Anyway, so here's some basic info. But before I do this though, so this film like very much is like a Japanese animated film.
Yeah.
So if you go on Letterboxd, like the cast list is all these Japanese voice actors. and it was in Japanese, but we could not find that version. The version that's on Max was in English, and it only had English, but also Spanish as an option. There was no Japanese, there was no original language. So typically, I'm a sub over dub man, just on principle. Vivian likes dub because she can't read.
I just think if I'm supposed to be looking at the stuff, I can't look at the stuff and read.
Listen, do you know who Bong Joon-ho is?
Yeah, the Parasite guy?
Yeah, the director of Parasite. Yeah. During his Oscar acceptance speech, he basically said, through a translator,
of course,
if the world, particularly the United States, could just get over that 1-inch barrier of subtitles, their whole world will be opened up to like a whole treasure trove of cinema. If they could just get over the 1-inch barrier that is subtitles.
It's fine. I just think, like, if I'm going to watch something like Studio Ghibli or something, like, I want to look at that and, like, all the art and, like, all the little details and stuff, like, while also watching the movie. So, like,
But those movies barely have stories, so just turn the subtitles off. Just, who cares what the story is? Just look at it then, at that point.
I want to know, Sorry.
A timer?
Oh, my frick. It was my homework thing again.
Homework on a Friday night?
Well,
we're recording this on a Friday.
Gotta be on that grind.
Okay, but anyway, so we watched it in English, which was fine though.
These are the normal people.
So these are the directors.
We didn't watch it with these people. We watched it with the American people.
But these aren't the actors anyway, so it's not really relevant.
Well,
I just
like
wanted
the
to
cast
say that.
in general too.
So it was directed by Junpei Mizusaki. I remarked how I was like, for a while I thought it was so cool how Japanese is so phonetic, and then I realized, well, because it doesn't use the Roman alphabet, right? Mm-hmm. So all of the words that do use the Roman alphabet, they are made to be phonetic, because Japanese uses different characters.
Yes.
Right. So I'm like, the reason why it's spelled so phonetically, what I just read, is because it was designed for someone who reads the Roman alphabet. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, the translation is like, it's like different.
This is exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, it was written by Kazuki Nakashima, though, trivia bit, the English writers actually changed quite a bit of the script, apparently. So, how much of Nakashima's work we actually got to experience is up for debate. It was produced by Takanari Yamaguchi. It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, and it was released in April of 2018. We had never seen this. We had never heard of this.
No, I didn't know this existed.
I know. So let's just jump right into it. I actually have a decent amount of notes here.
Wait, April 2018?
What?
Only 5 more months until we find our love.
Who's that?
We?
You and me!
Yeah.
Oh.
I said until we find our love.
I know, I was making a joke.
They?
You didn't get it. No, anyway.
Who was they?
I said I was making a joke.
I know, but you said they for the joke, right? What was the joke? They?
I didn't say they, I said who.
Oh, who.
Yeah, who and they, two different sounding words. Anyway, so what did you think of this?
It was pretty cool.
It was so cool.
It wasn't like something that I would normally watch, just because like I don't watch a lot of anime or like traditional anime, because I feel like something like Avatar is not like, I heard that's not like real anime, right?
No, it's just done in the style.
Yeah.
Because anime, I believe, just means animation.
Yeah, but there's
Japanese,
like
so
the Japanese version though is like very like kind of sharp lines and stuff. It's like different from American animation.
No, yes. No, but what I'm saying is that anime is just like the fact that Avatar was made by American people, it by default is not anime. Really?
No, I know. I just mean like anime style.
Yes, no, in
Japanese
the style of, yes.
Anyway, so I don't watch a lot of stuff like that. So that
because you're xenophobic, yes.
What? No. Wait.
Do you know what that was?
I thought that was for another group of people.
No, that just means like you're like hostile to foreign things.
I'm not hostile at all.
I know, it's just a joke. Two jokes in a row, you're like, huh?
What are jokes?
Why do you take everything so literally?
Anyways, so that was like a new thing that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't sure. I don't know. Honestly, I was just thinking of like Batman, like, Lego Ninjago. I didn't know what to expect. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, this was very, I really knew nothing going into it. Like, I hadn't even seen, like, any, like, screenshots of it or anything. I really didn't know what it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I really give it credit for, like, it just hit the balls on it. Just, like, in terms of just, like, how far they take it in terms of, like, stylistic things. Like, and it really does feel of Japan in terms of the animation and, like, that commitment to, like, a very specific aesthetic style. You know, like, and it doesn't have one singular art style either. Like, different scenes at different moments will use different...
like, the action is, like, very...
I believe some of it, they rotoscoped, like, live action models to, like, create, like, a kind of a 3D effect almost. So there's, like, that mix of 2D and 3D. Like, I think Batman, when he first appears in feudal Japan, was, like, such a great premise. Like, they get transported back to feudal Japan.
So random.
But it's like when Batman first appears, like, the people in the town are 2D and he's more like 3D. So, like, there's, like, a visual difference to also show, like, the time difference between the two of them. I know you have no idea the difference between 2D and 3D, so we're just gonna...
I wasn't gonna say anything, but...
Yeah, listeners, I was looking and Viviana started to make, like, a face. I was like, I know she has no idea what I'm talking about. But then also, like, you know, like, a lot of times, like, the backgrounds, like, almost look like old Japanese painting style.
Oh, they look so cool, yeah, with the sky and everything.
Yeah, and then there's this one sequence that's, like, fucking incredible. There's a section in the movie where it appears Joker and Harley Quinn have, like, lost their memories.
Yes.
And they're just being simple. And Red Hood is basically trying to, like, is gonna kill them.
Yes.
And they're pleading, and the Batman shows up and whatever, and is like, no, like, I know him, and he's tried this before. Like, I could see in his eyes, like, he's telling the truth. Which, he was telling the truth, but because he imposed a self-imposed amnesia. Like, he, like, forced himself to have an amnesia.
Hypnotized himself or something.
But the way they animate and illustrate that scene is, like, beautiful. Like, it's, like, almost like this weird watercolor, like, abstract, kind of, like, very avant-garde in a lot of ways. It was like, it's like one of, like, the best anime sequences, like, I've ever seen in a movie ever. And not just that though, but also, like, a lot of really interesting character stuff there, right? So you have, like, that conflict between Red Hood, who has this, like, preposterously large, like, hood, because everyone's outfits now need to match, like, the era.
He's got, like, 2 Abe Lincoln hats on. Like, it's, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like 2 Abe Lincoln hat lengths. And it's just, and it's over his face. How can he see?
Well, how could he see before? He has, like, little slits.
I didn't see any little slits. And also, like, it's just crazy. It's like he's like a giraffe.
He's like a giraffe.
You know, he's got to make sure he doesn't lean too much one way, or else his hat will fall off.
Yeah. But also, by putting it in this era, we also get, like, it's not just the characters as you know them just running around in feudal Japan. Like I said, like, their outfits end up reflecting the time period a little bit. So, like, we get some really cool character designs. So, like, the funniest and most bizarre one was sumo wrestler Bane. So they basically turned Bane into a sumo wrestler. And I was like, that's perfect.
He looks like a giant baby.
Because he's supposed to be, like, a wrestler. So it's like that's like the feudal Japan equivalent, right?
I know.
But yeah, this just had a really crazy anime vibe. Like, not just in terms of the animation style, but just, like, the dramatic freeze frames, like, the anime grunts, like, the, you know, like, long speeches, like, crazy costumes, and, like, giant mech suits, and, like, like, almost like Power Rangers.
There was, like, some, like, pseudo-realism, like, at the end, like, pseudo-surrealism.
Wait, pseudo-surrealism?
Yeah, like, it was, like, surreal, but it wasn't, like, trippy surreal, like... You know, like, when the bats formed, like, a fully formed, like, object.
Batman, yeah.
Like it wasn't just a collection of bats, like it was a full form, and then it would break off into bats and go back together again. I would say that plays a little bit into creativity in terms of anatomy and physics and realism.
Why are you doing that? The way you're saying it, you're like, oh, and it's like this, and it's like that.
I don't know. That's how it is.
That's how it is. But in another staple of anime that this movie captures, more sexy women. Oh and this time in anime, if you're a hentai fan, boy, are you in for a treat.
Hentai was the tentacles.
It doesn't have to have tentacles. That sometimes is part of it. That's like saying all movies have tentacles because there are movies with tentacles.
I thought that was the whole thing.
No, just anime porn.
Oh.
Just porn in the anime style.
I thought it was a subsect of the anime tentacles only.
No. That's a very limited view of hentai.
I don't know what you guys be watching, but you know.
But I'm not saying I watch hentai.
People watch a lot of weird things.
I'm just reporting from the front lines, you know.
I'm not kink shaming or anything.
Yeah, you're trying to yuck their yum.
But I'm just,
can you not yuck their yum?
It's just interesting. Interesting way to go.
But like Catwoman is a pretty prominent character in this. Big juicy breasts. Harley, big juicy breasts. Poison Ivy, her boobs are almost popping out.
That's true.
She's got like just little fig leaves.
Little fig leaves. This is true.
Do you have anything to say? I've just been talking. No, stop. Do you have anything to add?
Just listening to you talk about boobs.
Well, if that's what you want, if that's what the listeners want to hear, I could give more detail about the boobs.
No. No. I think overall I liked it and I thought it was good and I thought there was some really good parts. However, it was like kind of like dragging a little bit towards the end for me. Which I don't know why, because there was like a big scene, right, of like the like big mech suits and stuff and like Power Rangers stuff and whatnot. Yeah. But
because there's like a lot happening, but it's not necessarily
it
like
felt like too grand. Like it was just like, oh, of course, like I don't know.
It almost like makes you detach from it a little bit because it's like it becomes so ludicrous, but like on a narrative level, like if you were to write out the plot points, it would just be like they fight.
Yeah.
Like nothing really happens. Yeah. Like a lot is happening, but nothing really happens in a sense, right? And I think that's a problem you see with movies in general, where it's pacing is a very interesting, like almost like a science, really. Like because it has to do with like psychology in a lot of ways, and Roger Ebert, famous critic,
of course,
right? Said something along the lines of no good movie is too long and no bad movie is short enough. You know what I mean? So there's no such thing as like, oh, that movie was too long. Like it can be too long, like, but usually it's a reflection of it's like, okay, like a movie could be 4 hours long, but it's like, what is like, how is that 4 hours being used? Yeah. How effective, right? So like if a movie is really dull, 70 minutes is torturous. Whereas like a 3.5 hour movie, like some of my favorite movies are like 3.5, 4 hours long. Yeah. And they're riveting from beginning to end.
Great, yeah.
You know? So this movie, I agree, has weird pacing or inconsistent because there's no time wasted. Like literally
like right away going into feudal Japan.
The inciting incident is essentially relegated to like a 1 minute voiceover from Catwoman. Like
oh yeah, that was so
like basically the inciting incident happens like almost in montage with like basically with Batman getting sent back to the past. Like within a minute Batman's already in Japan. Yeah. You know, you would think there would at least be like 3 or 5 minutes like in the middle of the battle. Yeah. And then like 3 minutes in or whatever, like Solomon Grundy, what's his name? Gorilla Grodd activate, right? This literally is about a minute, and it's mostly Catwoman's voiceover. So about a minute in, we're already in feudal Japan, right? Yeah. So it's like really fast in that way, and then other parts it'll kind of drag a little, and then even when there's a lot happening, it's not necessarily like okay, like it's just stuff happening. but like stuff happens in my life. I don't need to see things happening. I want to see interesting things happening that reflect characters and motivations, which there is some of. But
well, I mean, I like this premise, and I think it would be cool, like, if they were.
I'd love to see it as like a series, like actually see it like expanded. Almost.
Yeah, like if they were just from there, or if
like do a Gotham by Gaslight, which is what I thought this was.
Yeah.
Where it's like it just is Batman, but reimagined as if he was in feudal Japan. Whereas this is a present day Batman who gets sent back.
Yeah, or like what it is, just minus the time travel stuff, which I guess would be weird, but I feel like once you get into it, like you wouldn't really notice, like, you know, just like having a more modern Batman. But it's like, oh, it's Batman, so like of course he's, you know, got tech or whatever.
Well, like we said with Gotham by Gaslight, like it's okay for him to have things that weren't around at that time.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like too far off.
Yeah.
So like in Gotham by Gaslight, he has a grappling gun. He doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
You know, like he has things that would eventually be created.
Thing,
He's like always on the cutting edge of tech.
Yeah. So I feel like it would be cool if it was like that, or if they were just there in general. But I did start to get like a little. I think what was kind of. I think what maybe the start of the kind of weird pacing at the end was in the middle. It seemed very jumbled.
Like it kind of really screeches to a halt.
And it was difficult. Well, it was difficult to keep up with because it was like, okay, they go to Grodd and he's gonna help them. Oh, just kidding. He's
because all the villains have taken over different sections of Japan, so like they're warring feudal states.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna work with you. Just kidding. I'm screwing you over and working with these people. And like, oh, just kidding, but I'm screwing them over too and just working for myself. Like, I was like, what is going on? like,
yeah,
you know. So it just like, I don't know, just didn't really. Like it
was
wasn't,
a little messy.
It wasn't difficult to understand, obviously, but like.
Well,
like,
as we know, you did
like
have
messy.
trouble understanding Assault on Arkham, which is very straightforward. But I would agree with you in this case that it was a little convoluted. But
so
but I don't know if that's
to that time. I was like, who is fighting who? Like, what's going on? You know, like why should I care? Basically, because I don't really like.
Yeah.
You know, because are they together? Are they just? Well, we find out that Grodd is like mind controlling the other guys.
The other villains.
The other villains. Yeah.
It's I didn't think we were going to have this conversation about this movie, but like it's no, we talked about like with like general ideas about pacing.
Oh yeah.
And also something to your point where it's like stakes are also really interesting. Mm-hmm. Both the meat and the narrative concept.
Yeah.
Stakes.
Oh.
Get it? Like the stakes.
I thought you meant the meat of the story, but yeah.
No, like the meat, like prime rib.
Yes, I got you.
No, but stakes are really interesting because you can have a movie where the stakes are like. A lot of people think like the bigger the stakes, the more emotionally invested the audience is going to be, right? But if you compare
that's
like
a lie.
compare,
That's a lie.
I know I'm about to
because like
when
it's like the whole world, and it's like obviously they're gonna save the whole world.
So it's like what are the stakes in the Avengers? Right, like.
Well, speaking of the Avengers, I think that's why I don't like the Infinity War because.
But they do lose.
I know.
But that's what makes it great.
But. That's it. We are all dead.
No, only half of us are dead.
Anyways, keep going.
What I was gonna say is like I'm talking about the first Avengers movie. Like, what are the stakes? If they lose, Loki and his aliens will take over the Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What are the stakes at the end of The Dark Knight? Will Two-Face kill Gordon or one of his kids?
Yes.
On paper, the stakes in The Dark Knight are way lower. Mm-hmm. But emotionally,
it's more personal.
Or even just compare it to The Dark Knight Rises, with like the nuclear bomb is gonna go off, right? Like personal stakes, or look at something like Star Wars, right? The first Star Wars, the stakes are the Death Star is gonna blow up the planet and destroy the Rebel Alliance at their hidden base. Mm-hmm. What are the stakes in the second one? Luke and Darth Vader are just having a duel, essentially.
Oh, that's it?
Well, he's trying to turn him to the dark side.
Oh, but there's no like
a whole planet is not about to be exploded. The fate of the Rebel Alliance is not about to be incinerated. Right? But it's an emotional climax. Like if you look at the plot of that movie, it kind of is an anti-climax because like nothing really happens in the end.
Yeah.
But it's an emotional climax. Mm-hmm. It's about Luke. It's about like the battle for his soul in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So
his father lost.
He lost the battle. Yeah. So in this movie, tying it back to this, it's an issue of like, and you know, I have watched some anime, but I would not say I am like an anime aficionado. Mm-hmm. But from what I do know and understand, like how much of this, especially its third act being convoluted, how much of that is messy writing or trying to emulate anime, which is convoluted and complicated and ridiculous.
Is it always? Yeah.
Not always, but I mean, you have some anime that have been running for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it's like out of necessity, the plots have to become more complex and kind of keep upping the ante. And so I don't know. And that's almost like a backhanded compliment where it's like, you did such a good job of emulating anime by being messy
by being ridiculous.
By being messy. Yeah. Like having a negative quality. Like that, I'm not trying to say that, right? And I really like the anime I've seen. I'm just saying I don't know. Like this didn't feel like that doesn't feel like anime. Like it felt perfectly in line with you know, again with the ridiculousness, the changing sides, the giant
that was it?
Because all the villains each have their own mech and then they all combine into one with the Joker mech being like the head.
It's
so
like
it's like
the
a
giant Power Ranger when they all come together.
And then like you said, like there's a giant Batman. So at first Robin.
So confused.
At first there's a monkey. So there's monkeys.
At first there's a monkey.
So Tim Drake. So we get every single Robin in this one. We have Dick Grayson as Nightwing. Yeah. We have Red Hood. Mm-hmm. We have Red Robin, Tim Drake. Mm-hmm. And then we have Damian Wayne as Little Robin.
Oh, that one's Damian? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know which is which. I don't know. Tim Drake and
there's a little one.
Tim and Damian are Robin and Red Robin, but I'm not sure who.
And the little one's got a monkey.
Anyway, the little one and also is now partially bald. He like shaved his head like he's like a Japanese monk.
I guess.
Anyway, so he has a monkey friend, and they unite all the monkeys to do a big monkey attack, and all the monkeys kind of similar to the bat. Well, the bats come to help the monkeys because the bats form Batman, but originally all the monkeys form a giant monkey. Mm-hmm.
Well, and then the bats come to help.
They have shields on their back, so they can kind of use that as like the skin. So like when they get attacked with something like blocks. Yeah. Also, it was kind of cute so to get all the monkeys to do it, Damian plays the flute, and the flute is the '60s Batman song.
Yes.
It's like do 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 do. So it's like that's ridiculous, and then the bats coming.
Was cute.
Cute and ridiculous aren't mutually exclusive. It's cute because it's ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Like it felt very ridiculous. To that point. What else? What else do we got here? I like how it kind of, though it's not just like, just throwing them in like a cursory way, just kind of like whatever. Throwing them into this time period, like it ties actually into like that time period. So again, like at this time there were all these feudal warlords and regions. So that's accurate to history if I'm not mistaken. And then also like, you know, this is Japan in like the 14th century. There aren't white people here, really. So Batman's like, what am I gonna... So they pretend to be like Christian missionaries.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Which would be historically accurate, right? Yeah. So those would be people from Europe or whatever. So, and then also, so like the midpoint...
Sorry, but he had that funny little...
The monk hair,
the one where he has the bald spot in the middle with the donut, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the full rim donut. And then, but there was like a little patch on the top of his head, and it was in the shape of a bat.
A bat, yes. He did have a little bat shaped patch.
It was this little bat logo.
But so like that's really like a clever way of like kind of justifying like why no one bats an eye. Because again, it would be like he would stick out like a sore thumb.
Bats. Well, what about Alfred?
He's also a missionary.
Well, I guess he's just at home.
Yeah, he's hidden away. But
what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say then also like halfway through when he kind of like loses, like the Joker kind of wins
Yeah.
and Gorilla Grodd kind of win. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like that middle, like the lowest point narratively.
Yeah.
He realizes he's like, I've been trying to fight the way I've always known to fight. Like, I have to adopt the ways of now.
Yes.
So that's how he really becomes Batman Ninja. Right?
Yes.
Because there's this clan of people who... There's been a prophecy that someone would come from the future dressed as a bat to lead them and unite Japan.
Is very convenient. Also, it should be Ninja Batman, but okay.
Ninja Batman.
It's just Batman Ninja. Just seems incorrect. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe it makes more sense in Japanese. Like, maybe it's meant to go
Maybe it's
that
backwards.
Kind of like in China, Fa Mulan.
Yeah, like,
how like their last names are
first. Yeah. I don't know. But I really like the redesigns of the characters. I thought that was, like, really, really cool.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like, they weren't just, like, you know, whatever. Like, they
there was a lot of thought put into them.
They weren't just, like, themselves, but in feudal Japan. It was, like...
That's what I mean,
like, they were, like, you know, in the garb and stuff, and, like, you know, they got the hair and whatnot, and, like... even like
there was good attention
Jokers,
to detail.
ninjas, like they, you know, yeah, it was just like cool the way that they like did it, like to represent that and be a part of it, but not like be just like a copy paste and like.
Speaking of the Jokers, like ninjas, they send like when Batman first appears, like they're dressed in like green and purple, and Batman's like, "Who sent you?" It's like, bro. What do you mean who sent them?
Who do you think?
Who is your master? But yeah, no, like I said, like I hate watching dubs, but there was something kind of funny about this, like where it's like it's like those scenes in movies or cartoons when like they alternate between different animation styles. It kind of felt like that, but like a whole movie of that. I'm trying to think of like an example, but like well, it's like in Horton Hears a Who when they have their anime segment for like 20 seconds. It kind of felt like that, but as a movie. In the sense that, like, I didn't mind... Since these are, like, characters, like, American characters, I didn't mind watching this in English. Kind of similar to, like, with Kingdom Hearts.
It's like, okay, they...
Like, Kingdom Hearts is, like, the one thing...
As speaking English, right, you know?
If I could, I would maybe change the language... in Kingdom Hearts, like if there was an option to change the language to Japanese, just because some of the English voice actors are not great. But then you would lose that element of like, these are like the authentic Disney voice actors. You know what I mean? Like not all the time, but like Donald and Goofy, like the people who voice them are the Donald and Goofy voice actors. Like
really?
They are like the people. Yeah.
So
cool. That was like a big draw of it when it came out was like, if they didn't have Robin Williams, like they got the guy who would always play Genie in other stuff. To play Genie in Kingdom Hearts. Like it wasn't just like a throwaway thing. Like they put a lot of effort into the voice direction for that series, right? So that'd be like the one drawback I would have switching as opposed to like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Like I very quickly changed it to Japanese because the English voice acting sucks. It's awful.
I wouldn't know. It's always in Japanese.
But you can just tell by the intonation and like the way they're saying stuff. And also, like, it's designed for Japanese voice, like, for their delivery.
Yeah. Oh, well, you...
Whereas the English, they have to, like, match, like, if the Japanese person did it for this length...
Yeah.
The English person has to... It has to time out exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't always have to match the flaps,
you said that one time, it was, like...
sometimes it's too egregious, so it's like if they, like, you know, move in a certain way.
It's like, don't go there, Sora. It's like, don't go there. Sora.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so that's why I wanted to watch this, and you could really tell like the mouths didn't match. Because at least in anime, even in Japanese, the mouths don't match because like there's not a lot of realistic mouth movement animation in anime. Like it's usually just like the mouth is opening and closing rapidly.
Yeah.
So that's how I think they do that by design, so it could be sent to different international markets.
Oh.
So it's easier to
That's
whereas this
thinking.
there was more like you could see like consonants and vowels being formed that we were not hearing. Right. So that's also why I don't like watching dubs, because there is like a weird disconnect if they don't. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, for like their mainline games, like they will change the mouths.
Oh.
So they match, not all of them, but so they'll at least match, even if the timing of it is weird, like they'll match the...
That's a lot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they do have millions of dollars, so
Keeps people employed.
And keeps people employed. What else do we have here? You know what else I really liked? I really liked Tony Hale as the Joker. That was the voice actor. Mm-hmm. I thought he did a good job. Tony Hale, if you look him up, he was like on Arrested Development and Veep. So he's a well-known guy. He was pretty unrecognizable in this. And not only did he do a good voice performance, but also like you were saying, like the Joker is not, his character design is not only like good for capturing the Japanese style, like you mentioned, but also he's like horrifying. Like the way they characterize him almost as like a Japanese demon or something. Like
What?
Like you don't think he looked scary? Just like the way they animated his face and everything.
Yeah, I
like,
guess so. Yeah.
especially in this animation style, like they could really be exaggerated and
I
like
thought his mustache was silly.
like remember how I talked about with some of these animated films where they just can't compare to like the graphic novel or whatever because ultimately the animation style is cheap at a cheapness level where you're never gonna be able to capture the artistry that's you're able to capture in a single static panel image that you could put all this detail into one image. This was able to capture that sometimes. So like I'm saying, there's some moments, especially like that really beautiful almost like watercolor sequence where the Joker has amnesia, but they walk away and you slowly see like his mouth form, and it's like the most exaggerated. And like, you wouldn't see that unless you're reading a comic book with the Joker, right?
Okay.
Like we haven't really gotten to see that level of abstraction and exaggeration that only the illustrative form can provide. So it was really cool, if nothing else, for like that version of the Joker.
Yeah, I really liked the Joker. Spoiler alert, but
and he felt like a normal anime villain too. It was like it wasn't just like the Joker, but in this context, like the way they characterized him, like in terms of his personality and the way he would act, felt very anime. Yeah, anime villain. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
I thought it fit it very well, and I think it also helped like frame the story more, to bring it into that new world, right? I mean, we don't know how long he's been there, but presumably for a while now.
Enough to have like military or like politically taken over these areas. Yeah. Because they established that like Catwoman and Alfred at least get there before Bruce, so like they don't all arrive at the same
2
time.
years or
same
something.
time.
Yeah, they said it was like a few seconds or a few minutes, and then it like turned into years back in time.
Well, no, I think it's like Catwoman gets sent to 1543, and then Batman gets sent to 1545. Like
no, well, they said that like she got sucked up first, right, and then like 2 minutes later he got sucked up.
But they got spat out in different points of time.
So
because if you think of time as like a physical,
she was there for 2 years, not just 2 minutes.
Yes. Because if you think of time as like a physical like timeline, it's like you got spat out over here, right? You both came out of the same hole. You both went into the same hole, but it went to 2 different places.
Yes.
Right. Yes. But yeah, overall, I liked this. I think I agree with everything you said about, I think, some of the holdback, the things that kind of hold it back, and I pretty much agree with everything and then some. But there's also just like a lot to love here at the same time. Like I spoiler alert, this movie does not have like a great reception on Letterboxd, and I'm kind of surprised by that. Like I don't know why.
I
like
found it. Okay.
What?
I was trying to look for the Joker Samurai Soldiers, because those were different too. But like, do you remember it? Do you like?
Yes, they look really scary. Like they all have like almost like Joker masks, but like they're Japanese like kabuki masks.
Yeah,
almost.
It's not like the regular like just Joker mask or whatever. You know, like.
It's a good application and translation of the source material into this time period.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how else
it's like a really cool
elaborate
synthesis.
on that, but like they made it cool.
They made it cool. Do you want to hear some trivia?
Okay. Also,
what were you gonna say?
It should be Batman Samurai, not so much Batman Ninja. But...
Aren't ninjas? Didn't we? This is kind of maybe showing my whiteness here. Ninja? But are ninjas from Japan or China? Are ninjas from Japan? But Japan is like more. China. That's like where martial arts come in, like kung fu. Like that's Chinese, right?
That's Chinese, yeah.
Right? So, but ninja isn't part of that?
I don't know.
Or is it a blanket term? Or am I just a white guy? I just need to shut up. Oh.
Okay, so I think a major thing would be social class. Okay, so one of the major differences between the samurai and the ninja is who they exactly are. Samurais were warriors that belonged to the noble classes of ancient Japan society.
They're almost like knights.
On the other hand, ninjas were often mercenaries, and as such, they would often belong to lower classes of ancient Japanese society.
But so Japanese society, though, is my question.
Yeah, so I guess like free
samurais were kind of like
like,
noblemen almost.
versus like bodyguards. Yeah, like
I'd love to learn more about that, like Japanese feudal, like the samurai and the shogun and the ronins and the samurai. Ronins are roaming samurai. They don't have an allegiance to a specific land or lord. And then a shogun was like almost like a political dictatorship, like military dictatorship of a samurai being like a dictator, I believe. And shogun is also.
They said that in the thing. They didn't say that, but
like a shogun is like a dictatorship.
Word. Yeah, they used that word. But I believe they were both Japanese, and then there was like, but there's like some muddiness about people who went to China and then back to Japan or something. So like, there's
in this movie.
No, just in general. Okay. So there's like a debate.
We gotta watch the viral YouTube video "History of Japan."
There's like a debate about whether they actually are Japanese or whatever, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're.
Did you hear what I said?
The world video.
The History of Japan.
By who?
I forget his name, but it's like the famous viral video.
There's a viral video?
Oh, what's his name? Yes!
There's a viral video about the history of Japan?
Yes, because it was made by a guy who Bill Wirtz, who's almost like an experimental musician. So he'll be like, oh, what? You just have to watch it. People listening, you probably, if you know, History of Japan by Bill Wirtz. We'll watch it when we're done. I can't believe you've never seen this. You probably have. It's animated and he's like
a documentary?
He's like, no, it's like a 9-minute video and he's like, oh, but then they leave. But then they come back.
Oh, okay.
It's you've definitely seen some of his stuff. He's the guy who did like the Vine that was like, thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Oh, yes.
He's that guy. Like almost like these weird like experimental jazz chord weird things.
Okay.
He did this 9-minute video in 2016 that like let's see how many views it has on YouTube. 80 million.
Oh my god.
80 as in million or macaroni.
Macaroni.
Okay, do you want to hear some trivia?
Sure.
Okay. I mentioned this before. The fight scenes were filmed with live actors, then animation was created using that footage. I believe that's called rotoscoping.
Yes,
you basically trace over.
Like Snow White.
Yes.
Right. They use that.
I forget how much of that was rotoscoped versus just reference, but I think some of that was rotoscoped. Like they would just literally trace over the woman.
They use the lady, yeah.
Well, sometimes they have people, but they just use it as reference. Like they'll then watch it and then like study how she moved and stuff. But so there's a different. Rotoscoping is like when you literally just trace over it. Monkeys, apes, chimpanzees, and gorillas are sacred and worshipped by some Japanese cultures. They would regard Grodd as a deity before the other villains. Okay.
Nice.
Batman's ship, which appears in the film, isn't that when they have like the naval battle, right?
Yes.
Batman's ship, which appears in the film, is modeled after the Korean. I'm gonna try to pronounce this. Geobukseon, which is a turtle ship built in the 15th century. Interesting.
I thought that was so clever. I was pranked. I thought there were guys in there, but they weren't. They were just little dummies with straws. Because they knew that they were gonna shoot them, and so they did a decoy.
Sublime. The character introductions after Batman arrives in the feudal era were inspired by JRPG or Japanese role-playing games boss introductions. So like that'll be a thing in some like Kingdom Hearts is a JRPG. Final Fantasy is a JRPG. Sometimes they'll have like really exaggerated character introductions for like the person you're about to fight. So Zelda is not a JRPG in like the strictest sense, but like when you know when I'm about to fight someone, like it'll say in big letters like their name.
Yes.
That's like what it's. Because remember in the movie when it would be like Poison Ivy, it would be like a freeze frame and like big text like
yes.
Poison Ivy.
Yes. That's what that's called.
Yeah.
Is a
Japanese role-playing game?
PG boss introduction.
I mean, that's not what it's called. It's not a trademarked term. It's just a boss introduction in a JRPG. Just similar. It's just similar.
Okay.
The mecha machines are likely a reference to the Super Sentai or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for Americans.
Yes, of course.
I guess they're not called the Power Rangers in America. In Japan, they're called the Super Sentai. Not the Super Hentai. That'd be bad.
This Sentai. Might be super.
Maybe soldiers or.
Super Sentai is a Japanese word that can be translated to task force, squadron, division, group, or wing.
Okay.
So Rangers, basically.
Yes,
like
of
Power
course,
Rangers.
of course. Go Power Rangers! You know, that show, I believe they would film it in Japanese, but because everyone has fucking helmets on, you can dub whatever you want over it. You don't have to worry about the mouth flaps.
Why would they?
Because it's a Japanese thing.
I thought it was in America.
No, it's I believe it's a Japanese property. I'm almost positive. Hold on, let's go to Wikipedia.
I mean, property, sure, but like, isn't this show like they were speaking English in the show?
I don't know. I'm just saying that but they all have helmets on, so you don't have to worry about mouth flaps.
This is true.
I don't know. Let me hold on. Television series.
They don't always have their.
This is a list of Power Rangers episodes. No, not the franchise. I want to find the show.
But you know what? I didn't really watch that show anyways, so. But I do know about the one big one that they all come together.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is in English. Maybe I'm talking my ass. I never watched it really, but I could have swore that it was like in Japanese, and that's why they all like. I never got into it as a kid. I never got into Power Rangers.
No.
Do I have some critical reception?
Of course.
Okay, so at the time, not too long ago at this point, we're really getting close to the present here.
Yes.
In terms of the contemporary reaction on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 82%, so pretty good. IGN awarded Batman Ninja a score of 9.7 out of 10.
What?
Saying, quote, DC tried something new by bringing in visionary Japanese animators to offer a refreshing take on one of the company's most beloved characters, and the finished product not only built upon the great adaptations that have come before, but surpassed them, end quote.
Damn.
But I guess people on Letterboxd felt differently. Because on Letterboxd, it is a 2.8 out of 5.
He said no.
Here's some reviews. Adam Bolt writes...
Adam!
Who does not listen to this.
He's a regular commenter.
Again, like I said in one of our other episodes, that would imply that he's like... You're like, he was a regular contributor. That would imply he's contributing. I'm not just stealing his content.
He just loves Batman movies.
Yeah. Adam Bolt writes, quote, Bald Robin, end quote.
This is true.
There is a Bald Robin. Zara writes, quote, pardon my French, but this movie was batshit. And Suspirlium, who we heard from...
from last time.
Never knew how much I needed Batman anime until now.
Yes.
I agree, Suspirlium. Like I said, I think this would be cool. They should do a Batman anime like as an actual series.
As a show? Yeah, that'd be good.
And you don't even have to do it in feudal Japan. You could just do it like as Gotham. We kind of got a taste for with the anthology movie we watched. That was like a tie-in with Batman Begins. Like I feel like you could do an anime of Batman. Really well, actually, because he has like that ninja element to him where he's like not like super powered, like he's just beating people up. Like you could do cool fight scenes and stuff, and yeah.
And you know what? I guess he would. You know what? I take it back. I think he would be Batman Ninja because he's not working for a lord.
Yeah, he's not working for. He's not a nobleman. Well, technically, he is a nobleman.
Just because he's rich.
Yeah, that's all a nobleman is. Not about them being noble.
No, but like, I mean like a title holder.
Well, we don't have those in the United States, but if we did, he definitely would.
Yes.
All right, Viviana, favorite part?
I'm gonna say the Joker.
The Joker?
Yeah, I actually thought it was really cool. Just the design and everything, and also that was crazy. When what's his buns? Red Hood. When he went to their house in the pasture in the farms.
Yes.
But like I did not recognize Joker at all. I thought they were like just like a random couple. Like I didn't,
exactly.
I didn't think it was them
because it's done so stylistically.
He looked so different. Yeah. Well, because we were talking about what was it was it Mask of the Phantasm? Where like I could tell that
That was the Joker
the guy
in the
in
past,
the picture, yeah, was the Joker because like their nose and face was like the same, but like I don't know, they look so different. They tricked me. They got you. But that wasn't my favorite part. But like him as
Joker, this is a good Joker in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, normally I would say the sexy women with the large breasts,
Big boobs.
but that sequence we were just talking about is just so well done. Mm-hmm. Stylistically, and also like the writing and then the music is really good. Like it was very like emotionally affecting. Mm-hmm. I think I'm gonna say that is my favorite part. That sequence out in the pasture with Red Hood and Joker and Harley, and then Batman shows up. But big titty sexy anime woman comes as a very close second.
I know, like when we first see Catwoman in feudal Japan, and like her dress is like starts like almost at her nips.
That's the way the Japanese like it. Okay, Viviana, 1 to 10. What are you giving this movie?
I don't know.
We don't have to look at the ranking. You just have to figure out the number first, and then you look at the ranking.
I think I was gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 7. Alrighty. So where in your 7s is it gonna go?
Okay, well, the top 7 is Batman versus Two-Face. I don't know. I think I'll put this one above it.
Okay, so your top 7?
So this will be, will be number 9.
This will be 9 out of 33.
Damn.
9 out of 33, damn. I am also going to give it a 7. And let me look at my 7s here. So Year 1, no, I liked it more. I like Year 1 more. Gotham by Gaslight, I think I like that one more. Mm-hmm. Batman and Harley Quinn. I don't know. I think... Because that one's so fun.
Yeah. It's, like, difficult with doing this because you're, like...
They're so different.
You're, like, comparing, like, oh, this one is really funny, but, oh, this one, like, really got to me, like, emotionally, or, oh, like, you know...
It's like what's more important, and it's like, well, it depends on the day, I guess. Like,
yeah,
so,
it's like apples and oranges. It's like, how can I choose?
I think I'm gonna put this above Batman and Harley Quinn.
Okay.
I think I'm putting it at number 6 then.
I think stylistically.
I think just because like, okay, when you're comparing apples to oranges, all you can do is compare because they're so different. All you can do is okay, well, how good of an apple? How good is it at being an apple? Versus how good is it being an orange, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, Batman Ninja is really, really good stylistically, whereas Batman and Harley Quinn is really funny, but, like, I think Batman Ninja is better at being stylistic than Harley Quinn is at being funny.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So, like, I think on that metric, I think I would put that above this. So, I'm putting that at my number 6, and then for you, it's at number 9 out of 33.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
We've watched a lot of movies.
I know.
And we still have a decent amount.
Still have 5 more.
Still have 5 more left to go.
And they're long too.
Some of them, most of them are short.
Okay, 2 out of 3 are long. Joker and the Batman.
But we have 5 more.
I know.
Not 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 are long, I said.
2, but what's the 3? You keep saying 2 out of 3.
2 out of 5.
Well, Joker's only 2 hours.
Okay.
And Batman is 3 hours, yes.
Okay.
But the other ones are like this one, like 80 minutes, whatever.
Alright.
Anyway, so spoiler alert, that's it for this week's episode of Now That's What I Call a Franchise. Viviana, you said your favorite part of this movie was the Joker, so I have good news for you. Next week, we'll be watching the next film in the franchise, the 2019 film, Joker.
Oh my frick.
Viviana, where can they find us?
Wait, you know what I just realized? Is that in maybe like 2 years or something, we're gonna have to do a bonus episode.
Yes, because the sequel's coming out this fall.
Du le faux? What is it?
Folie à deux.
Folie à deux.
The sequel, a musical.
Is it a musical?
It's gonna be a musical, and Lady Gaga's playing Harley Quinn.
I knew that. I didn't know it was a musical.
I believe it's going to be like a full-on, like, non-diegetic musical. Because of course it's gonna be.
What?
Anyway, Vivian, where can they find us? They can't find that movie. It's not out yet. So where can they find us?
They can find us wherever they get their podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Franchise Podcast.
We know you have many podcasting options, and I do mean many. But we thank you for choosing us. Peace out, guys.
Don't put that thought in their head. Later, Gators.